Hello, I'm here with my friend Moksha. She's also my cameraman most of the time.
Yeah.
Today I'm going to show you like a kind of daytime look, like something summery. So I have gotten a model here to help me because I'm sure you guys are tired of me using my face for this stuff. Moksha, stand up so they can see her outfit. So she's wearing like a dress. So it's like kind of cool toned. Again, you have like flowers on it. So for her, I'm gonna do like a peachy eyeshadow, like something peachy pink, and have her entire face like gonna go along with that summery like peachy look. You'll kind of understand it when you see it, but that's the kind of vibe we're going for, like light summery tones. Okay, so before we start on Moksha's makeup, we're gonna analyze her face a little bit first. Okay, so first we're gonna look at her face shape. So Moksha has what you would call an inverted triangle face shape. Kind of. Right? Her face is really small, so it's hard to assign a face shape to it. But it's kind of an inverted triangle. Inverted triangle face shapes are when you have like a smaller forehead and your face kind of angles down, like tapers downwards towards your chin. Okay, the next thing we need to see about her is her skin tone. So Moksha has again light to medium skin tone, leaning more medium. And she has a yellow undertone like most Indian women do. So we're going to be able to find her foundation shade pretty easily. It's a very common shade for Indian women at least. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is her eye shape. Now, Moksha has big eyes, right? She has like big shaped eyes. So we're going to try to minimize her eyes a little bit. We're going to try to make them look slightly smaller. But otherwise, she has really pretty eyes. So we're going to try to emphasize on those the most. Okay, I think we're ready to start. Okay. So, first of all, we're going to start on Moksha's eye makeup. So now, again, this is something I've talked about before. Moksha has very bushy eyebrows. So, since they're not like shaped or anything, we don't actually need to add anything to her eyebrows because they're already dense enough as it is and they give her face enough definition. So, what I'm going to do first is go in with a base color eyeshadow, again from the 25B Morphe palette. Put that on a fluffy brush and kind of lay down a base on her eyelids. So we're going to apply some primer on her face. I realize I have not explained primer yet, but in this episode I will. Primer kind of just lays down a base and it helps the rest of your products go on easily. You also get primers to serve like different functions. Like you get primers that fill in pores if you have like really enlarged pores, and you get primers that kind of blur down your skin. So for Moksha, we're going to use a blurring primer, but we'll get to that after I finish her eyeshadow. So now we've laid down a base on Moksha's eyes. The next thing we're going to do for her transition shade, I am going to use something very peach toned. So instead of going in with a brown like I usually would for another makeup look, I want this to be very like pink toned. I want this to be completely like peach toned because it'll go really well with her outfit. Okay, the shade I'm going to use for her transition is this kind of dusty pink shade. It's this particular palette is from Forever 52 and it's really dark and pigmented. So we're going to tap this off a little bit. And again, you start at the corner of the eyes and kind of move your way inside. I might switch to my left hand a lot during this. That's because I have enough practice with my left hand. If you can't do makeup with your wrong hand, don't worry about it. It's fine. Again, just light sweeping motions. So remember to just keep building the pigment until it's at a color where you're comfortable. So I want the crease color to be like entirely pink tone. This is going to be a really light look and you're going to be able to finish the eyeshadow very quickly. Okay, so now we have the crease color kind of down. It's not really translating well on camera, but we have like a really nice pink shade going here. From there you can kind of see it a little bit better. There we go, we have a nice pink. Okay, the next thing we're going to use is this very old palette from Wet n Wild that I have obviously overused. We're going to use this like kind of dark pink for the outer corner. So now, because I want this look to still be like really pink and summery, I'm not going to use too much of this. I just want some definition on the outer eyes. So again, we're just going to focus this kind of on the lash line and at the outer V of the eyes. We don't want this color to be too prominent, but we do want to add a little bit more like bright pink. So again, just in light motions, you can sweep this one outwards a little bit too, just near the lash line. So you get the effect of a liner. There we go.
So pretty.
Yep, we have a nice like shade going there. So the next thing we want to do is lay down a nice metallic shade on the inside of her eyes. Now, even though her eyes are big, we can use like a light metallic on her because it will still just emphasize the shape of her eyes and make them look nice. While her eyes are big, they're in coordination with the other features of her face, so they don't look particularly jarring. So here I have the Jaclyn Hill and Morphe palette, the infamous one. I'm going to be using this like peach tone shade. So I'm going to take this shade and I'm going to place it on the inner corner of her eyes and spread that outwards. I also sometimes like taking the metallic shade at the end of a fluffy brush, because sometimes flat brushes kind of spread things the wrong way and don't give you like an even shimmer. Okay, and as simply as that, you kind of have a nice like pink toned eyeshadow look going, which goes really well with the rest of her look. In order to line her eyes with shadow a little bit, I'm going back into this palette and using this like kind of maroon shade. This won't take too long. I'm just gonna take an angled brush and go near her lash line just to create some darkness there, because I will not be using liner on her today. So we want some definition near the eyes, but we don't want to use a completely black liner for it. See, so you kind of just have like a smudged like line on the outside of your eyes. Repeat this on the other eye. Usually on somebody like Moksha, I would use a liner, but since it's such a light look, I don't want to ruin it with something as dark as a liner. So we're going to use a mascara on her later, after we finish the rest of her look. And we'll call it a day from there. Okay, so now we're going to brush off all the excess under her eyes, and we're going to go ahead and look up. Start with the rest of her base. Okay, so on Moksha, who kind of looks like the Blair Witch right now with all the hair flying around, we're going to use the Smashbox Blurring Primer. Now, again, if you have young skin, there's a good chance you really don't need primer. Okay. So I have dotted the primer all over her face, and we're just going to use our fingers and kind of rub it in. So what blurring primer does is kind of give like an even like base to the skin. So if you have like any unevenness or any bumpy like areas on your skin, blurring primer will kind of even it out. You want to apply primer mainly near the T-zone and any problem areas, because that evens out the face. Okay, so now we have our primer down. The next step is foundation. So I've picked out a foundation shade and I have it on a flat brush, and I'm going to dot this all over her face. Moksha also has a little bit of like darkness near her chin. So I'm going to be using red color corrector over there. So I have some red color corrector on this brush here, and I'm just going to pat it down where the redness on her chin is and a little bit around her mouth. Okay, and next we're ready to start blending. So I have this flat top brush again. Just look towards the camera, Moksha. You just go in light circling, stippling motions to make sure the foundation is completely blended into the skin. Make sure you get the corners of the face like near the nostrils. Don't be afraid to drag down the foundation to the neck a little bit, because that helps even out the skin tone as well. So as you can see, the red color corrector has kind of cancelled out all the darkness that was there on her chin before. So I have a concealer shade here again. It's only the slightest bit lighter than her actual foundation shade. So look up. So I'm going to dot a little bit of the concealer down. You really don't need much. Again, we're going to take the blending brush. Just kind of stipple this. Okay. So now we have a concealer down. we're going to set under the eyes with setting powder. And right after this, we're going to do her under eye makeup. Now again, since this is a light look, all I'm going to do is take the outer corner shade from the Wet n Wild palette. And we're going to take it on a small brush and just go right under her eyes, around the outer corner, and give us some definition there. Look up. If you're dealing with somebody that flutters their eyes a lot like Mokshaa, then just be patient with them. Do light strokes and keep taking away your brush every few minutes, few seconds, just to let her get used to it. So with that, you have most of your eye makeup done. Now we're going to move on to the bronzer, the blush and the highlight. Okay, so we're going to use the same Hoola bronzer on Mokshaa. Okay, so for Mokshaa, we're not going to contour her forehead at all because she has a very small forehead. So where we're going to go is slightly above her cheekbones. And right at her jawline. We're also not going to contour her nose much. We're just going to brush down the sides of it with a large brush because she already has a very small nose. Okay, next we're going to use the same blush I used on myself earlier in this course, the one from Tarte. And we're just going to go on the ample of her cheeks, and Mokshaa's already smiling. Look at her, she's already a professional. We're also going to use the Master Chrome on her because this rose gold shade goes really prettily with the rest of this makeup look. And we're taking it on a fan brush and going right at the tip of her cheekbones. Now Mokshaa is somebody with dry skin, so before you do her makeup, you want to make sure she has plenty of moisturizer on. Okay, for Mokshaa's lips, I'm going to be using this matte lipstick, which is again Maybelline Superstay, and it's a nice cool tone nude, and it'll go really nicely with this look. With that, I'll put some mascara on Mokshaa's eyes, and we're completely done with the look. So, okay, so and with that, you can see Mokshaa's look completely goes with the rest of her outfit, and it looks great.